and we're late. The rally has already started. I'm not an invalid. My knee just doesn't like 8 hours on a plane. He watched as the guy nudged up behind what looked like a college student. Brown hair, fuzz on his chin, clean cut, a black backpack with a purple NYU logo on the flap hanging over his shoulder. I hope White has answers. If anyone can track down Royal, it's Senator White. He's on the Armed Services Committee. Orion glanced away, toward the other side of the car. A couple women sat with their bags clutched on their laps. Another woman stood, her bag over her shoulder, scrolling through her phone. A man in a suit coat holding a satchel was reading the paper folded in half in his grip. Behind them, a young man wearing a black hoodie, earbuds affixed, bobbed his head to music. He caught Orion's eye, then looked away. You should have told me that you went to rescue Royal and Thorne, Orion said, looking at Ham. Ham met him with a frown. It wasn't my information to give. Orion's mouth tightened. I wasn't thrilled when Logan Thorne landed on my doorstep last summer, very alive and packing a conspiracy theory. Ham turned to face him, as if ready to share answers as to why a former Navy SEAL who'd been taken by the Taliban in Afghanistan some 3 years ago had appeared alive, although shot, and in the backwoods of Alaska. Thorne surfaced with stories of an off-the-books rescue mission, a CIA cover-up, and the desperate fear that someone was still out to get him. Thorne's story sat in Orion's gut and chewed at him until, some 5 months later, he finally contacted former SEAL Hamilton Jones. Ham invited him to NYC to tell his story to Senator Isaac White, who served on the Senate Armed Services Committee and had ties to the CIA. If anyone could find Royal, it was the people who'd been behind his disappearance. Besides, they owed Orion answers about a number of things. So yes, he'd emerged from the woods for a face-to-face with White. Ham had been bugging him anyway to join his private international SAR team, Jones Incorporated. Hello. No. The last thing Orion wanted was to dive back into the world of spec ops and medical tragedies. He'd barely survived the last go-round. Had left behind buddies, pieces of himself, and a broken heart. Listen, that rescue mission blew up in everyone's faces and got a good man killed. So, no, my first thought wasn't to call you, Ham said. Besides, if I remember correctly, you were still in Germany. Knock it off! The sharp voice turned both Ham and Orion. Nix had jostled NYU enough to get a rise out of the college kid. Step back! Nix, however, came up on him, gave the student a push. What, you got a problem with me? Ham stiffened. NYU moved away, hands up. I don't want any trouble. What he said, Orion thought. Orion's jaw tightened. Please don't let the kid be armed, he thought. The car swayed as it screamed through the tunnels. Orion glanced at the next stop on the map above the door. Brooklyn Bridge City Hall Station, still 3 minutes away. A couple people pulled out their phones. A ripple of fear silenced the subway as Nix took another step toward NYU. Then he got in his face with a string of expletives that even Orion hadn't heard before. And he'd been to Spec Ops boot camp, a special kind of HE double hockey sticks. Yikes. Orion's code of honor made him glance, almost an apology, at the women standing in the back of the car, and... Wait, what? Nix and the man in the hoodie might be working in tandem, because Hoodie slipped past one of the women with what looked like her wallet disappearing into his front pocket. Ah, shoot. The last thing Orion wanted was to get tangled up in other people's trouble. On the other side of the car, the altercation erupted. Nix cornered the pale yet angry NYU student, who was trying to bump past him. When Nix shoved the kid against the door, Ham moved. Orion should have expected it. Ham wasn't the sit-around type. Even when they were serving at their base in Asadabad, Ham got to know the locals as well as everyone on